So in those areas where you see that there are extensions, it's because the infrastructure is in place. So in other words, what I'll read for you from the master plan is the municipality is satisfied there will be no additional pressures from costly unplanned extensions of full municipal services. So there is no costly extensive. In other words, the services are there, so you're allowing that as a municipal council to develop that area because there's no additional cost. So those areas where they are defined is the reason is because on one side of the property the services were installed. So there's no, as I say, there's no extensive costs. And that's why those areas are developed under the planning act. So,
But they're putting those services in
they're putting them
because of the fact that they are extending that area. So that's when they're that's when they're putting the stuff in the ground. Because council's saying, yeah, you can extend that area, so then they put it in the ground. My question is actually now, is it a infrastructure issue or is it a capacity issue? Because those are two different things. Capacity is, do we have the water and sewer capacity to service additional units? Or is it an infrastructure where the builder who's putting in those subdivisions already has the infrastructure in place and can service the additional units? To me, those are two different things. Either we can't service additional units, 1,800 units, if that's the capacity, and we can't go over 1,800. If that's the case, then every time we creep over, we're going over and above what is planned in those yellow areas, because you're outside of the yellow areas. Or is it infrastructure?
well, I think from the infrastructure point of view, if the services are being installed in the street, then it's under infrastructure plan, just basic good practices to be able to allow all the additional growth that you can possibly have based on the cost to install the pipes. In the areas that are in question of the yellow area, this is a planned subdivision that's been planned for several years. And all of that capacity has been put into that area, and all the infrastructure has been built in that area to satisfy that area. But there's no additional growth in that area because there's no infrastructure to support it. So in this case, in this area here, if you wanted to expand this, you'd have to expand a major pumping station. And I don't even know if that's possible because that's why we do the comprehensive report. So infrastructure would do a report to say, what does it really cost to service area A, B, C, D, E, F, G? So that's what we're saying tonight is why Madame Tremblay doesn't go any further into a comprehensive assessment, because from my department, we tell him it's too expensive to go there right now because that infrastructure is already in place and we have 1,800 units of growth, which will last Russell for several years. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to explain.
Madame Tremblay wants to jump in here.
Yeah, because basically what a full comprehensive review to look at what we're proposing tonight would include Mr. Collins' comment, and we would do the same for all the property that were suggested to be evaluated. So basically tonight we're just thinking council direction, say, are we looking to see if we're gonna do those land swap for residential purposes, or council is satisfied that we would wait until the 2021 county review and have those study area included as part of our OP. Because basically we can't really have that discussion until we know all of the property that we're going to look at and all of the information that would be included as our overall review of what all the potential property that we could look at.
So you're suggesting have a certain areas designated as special areas of review for the 2021 plan and move ahead with what is on the table at this point. So, yeah. Councillor Lede?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sitting here, we've got to make certain decisions when it comes to these things. Some people are going to be happy, some people are not going to be happy. That's just the reality of the job. In this circumstance today, in my opinion, if we sit back and we stop the process today, do a comprehensive review of all the residential areas in the municipality, then what's going to happen is we're going to delay a lot of the good work that we need to get done on the commercial and industrial side, which is something that I think every single person in this council and the last council and the last council before that have been talking about. When you go walk around door to door and talking to people, meeting them at the grocery store, and the biggest thing is we don't have commercial development, enough commercial development, whether it's commercial industrial, in this municipality. It's being borne on the residents, a lot of the tax situation. So I understand that we've done significant work to get to this point and for the, I guess you'd say called the trade-off of the trade and industry land, so we can keep moving and keep the momentum going on the sale of that industrial park and any additional commercial growth that comes in with it, whether it be over here on the backside or wherever. So that's where I gotta sit back and say, what's in the best interest of this municipality? And to me, what's in the best interest of this municipality right now, and understanding the fact that the Henson report states that we've got enough growth. And I think within that yellow boundary, there probably is enough growth spots for the next so many years. And a comprehensive review may not satisfy everybody who's looking to get into the village boundaries, because their land may not be identified as a actual targeted, or whatever you want to call it, land to go to, even if we did do the review. Okay, so I think for those lands, I think the next best thing at this point in time is the special study area, which will come up a lot sooner than the 10-year official plan review. We can try and get that in 5 years rather than 10. So I think that's a great recommendation that you've researched and done to allow for this. So, you know, I'm looking at it all, and I know we've only got this at the last minute today for whatever reasons and whatnot, but I think that you've come up with a good solution at this point in time, because if we don't do it, and we hold and we delay, and we got the potential to lose so much more in this than we have to gain. And I understand that there's certain people that have properties that they want identified, and their concerns need to be addressed as well. But even if we do it, I don't know if it addresses it. And are we willing to sit here and take that chance that it doesn't get addressed? And then we sit back and go, well, we've lost a year, and the actual situation that we're dealing with didn't rectify itself. So I like the fact that we're going forward, when we look at these subdivision plans and whatnot, that we actually get notified and identified situations where we're creeping over, we'll call it, onto the non-village boundary lands, so we see exactly what's going on every single time. So that change is positive. In terms of moving this, though, in my opinion, in mine only, doing the residential comprehensive review, I think does more harm than good at this point in time. So, you know, it's probably not the response that some people were looking for, but I think we have to look at it as a whole. And unfortunately, right now, that's the decision that I would make with the comprehensive review.
Okay, thank you, Monsieur Lorrain. Councillor Simon?
Alors, pour le comprehensive review, when could we do it then? If we don't do it now, when could we do it?
Essentially, I believe Madame Tremblay, in the special in 5 years?
I would at the same time as the county, so in 2020.
2020. So not even 5 years, we're talking 3 years.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So it's not 5 years, 3 years.
D'autres questions, commentaires? Anything to add, Madame Tremblay? Y avait-il d'autres sujets à rapport de ça?
Non, ça c'était les... il y avait les pistes cyclables, puis il y avait
Ce terrain-là.
ce terrain-là.
Oui.
Et les autres, à moins que unless council has other questions that were addressed or not addressed, or...
Okay, was there anything from members of council? Councillor Saucier?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play the devil's advocate. So if we did wait a year, how much would we lose? Like, do we have people banging down our door right now?
Mhm.
Yes?
I can tell you this morning I had a conversation with a developer from Toronto, actually the person who's building the Tims in Russell, who's asking when the OP is going to be ready, because he has a lot of interest for our area. So, you know, is that a guarantee? No, but based on conversations staff have been getting, I'm sure there's quite a bit of interest in the municipality area. Monsieur Le Duc?
Monsieur le membre du Conseil, bonsoir. I will echo Councillor Lorrain's comments about the quest or the inquiry about commercial and industrial lands being sought out. I think you see those comments already in this document. They've been addressed. It's also been part of our report card last year, and again showing up this year as the population is looking for more commercial industrial growth. At this point in time, we do have great interest in our areas to be swapped, and also are preparing to invest $3.8 million behind us in the commercial park area. So for us, that delay has significant dollar impact, and certainly from the full taxpayer's perspective, I think that's where they benefit, not necessarily 3 or 4 owners who are not prevented from selling the property or can wait 3 years to come back for a special study area. So I believe that we have to proceed with this. We have the Hemsman report to support our position, and I think I don't think we could make a best case in front of the OMB to justify those if there were the residential lands to put into the study if we were to go there. So at this point, I would not recommend the council to go further with that.
Thank you, Mr. Ridzik. Another comment I'll make is that in the last few years, council has been able to hold the tax rate at 1.5%, and that's a large part of the growth we've been having that's been helping to offset that residential increase. So I think there's definite need for increased commercial industrial tax base. And the other thing is we have the mandate to service this park here, which we're doing, servicing of the 417 industrial park, which I have meetings at Parliament Hill tomorrow specifically to discuss our PRAP project, and we're trying to get funding for that. Well, if you don't include all that land in that area as part of the PRAP project, you can essentially say goodbye to the PRAP project, because it needs the land to make it viable. So, Councillor Small?
I just wanted to end with the comment that I fully agree with Councillor Lahaye. We cannot delay. I think growth is happening here, and it's very good. I just wanted to make sure we clarified the timelines, because to wait another 10 years for certain people and certain swaps, I think that was significant. So it's important that we have all the facts straight and we know where we're heading. So I agree, we can't delay.
Good. Thank you very much.
Just if I may, what I'm going to do is I'm going to propose a new timeline at the June 7 meeting, just to confirm a discussion that I had with Mr. Prévost this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madame Farley. Was on the package, the comments that we've had since last week, was there any other issues of concern, members of council, in regards to these? I see a lot of yes, it was addressed in the package, so thank you very much, Madame Farley, for taking the community's feedback and addressing a lot of those issues. I think that it's a long, arduous process, and as you stated, you started in 2015, so it's you and your team have been doing a fabulous job. Thank you up to this point. Councillor Associate?
There was one that kind of struck a chord with me, which, the one from the rural sector. And again, like Councillor Laurent's comment, we're moving outside and outside the boundary, and that we are also looking at the best interest of our rural community as well, and our farmers and what have you. So that was one of the comments that really I thought was significant in that report.
Can you specify which comment it is, Madame Associate, so we can find it?
Not really right now. I can see it earlier. And it might have been also part of with the expansion of the trail. I think that was part of it too, in that comment that came. I mean, it doesn't specify who it is, but and just that the farmers can access their fields and things like that. That was one of the comments that came out of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Associate. Any other questions, comments? Anything to add from the administration at this point? We'll move on to the item question period, yes. Item 5, questions period on the meeting of the day. I'll please ask you to stand to the lectern. Your name and address for the record, please.
Wendy McNally, 1073 Concession. I know everything's about growth, and I just wanted to clarify the submission that was put in on the 38 acres was to as an alternative. My main comments, which were not initially addressed and were now, which I have to read through, was based on the Hemsden. It says we have enough land, But in talking to people and about planning, a lot of the land is not necessarily serviceable, in the wrong areas. Hampson also specifically mentioned a shortage specifically to Russell. And when I read the consultant's report, that is the commuter part from city, from Ottawa. All these things are very important, so as to not stagnate our township, because admittedly, everyone knows, they want no net gain, but all the land is not necessarily in the appropriate areas and can be serviced. Some residential land, which is considered residential for numbers, is in places that will and cannot be used. So the whole point of my comments were on the official plan, we're on the official plan review, and how to better our township, how to put that zoning in the right place, so that in a few years, if there's not another one for 10 years, which now seems to be changed, we aren't going to be bottlenecked. So that was the whole point. The whole point was not my submission. That was merely an alternative. There are ways to have growth, to use the same things, but no net increase in numbers. There are plenty, and not all of my questions were addressed. I just noticed there's still a couple not. But what I was throwing out were options to look at, and that is something where the comprehensive review would be good and necessary to point out, so that I know the trade and commercial is very important, but so too is growth. I mean, if we run out in Russell, which is the commuter area to Ottawa, then, I mean, that's where everyone wants to go. So that was the whole point, to clarify that.
So just, so Madame Tremblay, when, if you're still here in 3 years, hopefully you are.
She's gonna have a baby right at the time of the OP review.
Make a note, when we have a comprehensive review, that could be an aspect as well, is that within the village core itself, are the areas that are looking at developing actually the proper places to develop.
And are they right now?
Madame Tremblay?
I think you know my answer.
Yes, I know your answer, but it hasn't been
I
presented here
completely
tonight.
agree. Some of the properties that are out inside the boundary right now are not the right properties. The timing is the problem. And just to the record, I did mention those property in the process of 2009. And it's left to council's decision at the end of the day to give staff direction to go ahead and remove those property, because this is the battle at the end of the day that needs to be justified. I could make the best justification ever, but I need to have council support at those times, because that means we need to remove some that already have that designation. So without the owners corporation, we've dealt with it at the time of the employment. Some of the property owner were not satisfied with the agreement, so we kind of left it the way it was. So it's a communication, and I think they need to agree, unless council is fully supportive of that change that needs to be made to better our township.
Okay. Thank you, Madame Tremblay. Conseiller Lorrain?
And is that something that we can do as part of this other process in 3 years, or whatever the time frame is?
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because right now, outside of those lands, I think we're okay for 3 years. I mean, I think we're gonna be able to grow what we have, and I don't think there's gonna be any extra within those 3 years or 4 years, whatever the timing is, that we can do that review, look at what's in and what's not in, and what could be in, and what, you know, where things work best.
Yeah.
Versus what's there today. And then, of course, like you said, work with those landowners, because they may not want to give up those lands as that type of designation.
Yeah, and obviously the recommendation that would come in front of council will have to include all of the component of that recommendation. But infrastructure is a big one, so we're not going to come forward and remove a property when it's more serviceable than another one. So it needs to be as a full review. That's why it's called a comprehensive review, that all of the aspects that are looked at make sense at the end, that we're moving towards A instead of B.
Thank you, Madame.
Which was not done in this process.
Okay.
Monsieur Leduc?
Maybe in terms of perspective, members of council, I mean, for the public, I think we're building about 75 homes a year in Russell. So divide that by 1,800, it gives you an idea of the number of years we have an issue with shortage of property.
Are there not new builders coming to the area?
Madame Tremblay?
Yes, but again, we're basing our growth based on the number of years that have been passed, right? So the growth report is based on the number of permits that were issued in the last 5 years or 10 years. So yes, we may come, and that's why I'm suggesting to council at this point, when the county review, if we feel that the growth is expected to be more than what anticipated in the Amson report, it will be the perfect timing to show that we're growing faster than expected, and it's time to do it at that point.
Similar that we just did right now
Exactly.
for the
Because
trading
initially,
industry.
yeah, initially the report, the Amson, the official plan was just supposed to be a consolidation, but because of the growth that we had been seeing for commercial industrial, we were able to justify that we were doing a full comprehensive review for commercial component.
So hopefully we get more growth, residential.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had one more question about the boundary line adjustments. That technically, even though it's minimal, would be a net gain considered at the county, or because it's in their official plan, it's okay?
Yeah.
Because the consultant, when I asked about it, was really quite shocked at the way it was interpreted.
So when the plan of subdivision is reviewed, again, it's not even considered a net gain. It's not even the density that is being approved. And again, like Mr. Lorrain mentioned, we will in the future include those as being identified, maybe keep track of all of those that are being permitted. However, it is there, it's in ours, and it's considered minor. There's no definition, so.
Good. Thank you very much, Madame Tremblay. Other questions, members of the public?
Evening, Mr. Mayor. Charles Armstrong, Castle Street, Hamburg. Got lots of things here, but let's see if we can get it. Starting off with the official plan, the draft that you've published in section 1.4.3, there's a reference to Bill 73, I think it is. What is it? I've looked at Bill 73 currently, and it is, I don't believe, anything to do with the township. It's about electoral boundary changes in Northern Ontario. So,
Monsieur Leduc, Madame Tremblay.
I know the name, and it's growth.
can we just put if there is a name for this
Yeah.
act, can we just put the name in the final one?
We're taking notes. Nick?
In section 2.2, you talk about guiding principles, and I'm looking at specifically here from the side of the protecting nature and the environment and healthy communities, and it goes along with the point on the trail development. I've just asked that we put in a comment that the trails be developed to connect the villages. And just leave it at that, and leave it open for any opportunities that comes along for any funding, etc. in the future by other levels of government, private funding, etc. Then we know where to put that in terms of trails. Just a simple comment, and it covers a whole lot of things. In section 2.4.3, I looked at, there's a comment on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan to 2015, and it was the guiding document. I thought the official plan was the top-level plan for guiding the community development in the township. Would referring to an official plan or a master plan, if you want to change that, throw us into an official plan review procedure? Or should it be that the official plan would say, we will develop master plan that we would keep up to date on a routine basis and get the proper hierarchy of plans in place?
Madame Tremblay? We'll take note and review that.
Yeah, we could just say as amended.
It's something like that, just so that the master plan is a subordinate plan to the official plan.
Just, is it possible that you send us your comment by, like in writing?
I could do it, give me a few more days
No.
to write them all out.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, I'll send it to council.
Yeah,
As
copy
well.
council on it, for sure.
Okay. A couple of specific comments, though. Section 5.1.3 on solid waste management. It refers to Waste Diversion Ontario. Should that be gone?
It's gone.
It's
Okay, it's gone. Good. That's what I wanted to know. And there'll be several other comments on cycling, walking, environment, etc. Developments for the area, including forested areas and Castor River. One question, though, I do want to note, we refer to the Castor River several times in the official plan for various parks, recreation, and protection. Does that include the tributaries to the Castor River, like the South Castor River and the various creeks, etc., that flow into it?
we do refer to this separately, so it's not,
So it's not.
no.
In my opinion, we should say the entire Castor River system. That's a good word. System.
But we do, and I don't recall, but we do refer to all of the other artères, how do you say that?
Arteries.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tributaries.
Tributaries.
but it's not under the
Coming
same,
in.
we, yeah.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments?
Can I just have one? Can I just, for Mr. Armstrong, if the comments that just mentioned, and I know that there was a couple more, if it could be in as soon as possible. Like I mentioned, the final draft needs to be on our website on Thursday.
Okay. Conseiller Lorrain?
It would also be, the ones that were asked tonight will be recorded, so
Yes.
it's just additional ones that you.
Yes, exactly.
I just wanted to get clarification on the answers or the responses to my comments. That was all done through the consultant?
No.
That was through you as well?
Yeah. The answers were provided by myself, but the comment table was put together by the consultant.
Okay, so she didn't see,
My comments, no.
no, but she didn't see my other 3 pages of comments, even though it says see attached comments?
Yes,
That
they-
would all be through her?
Yeah, so what I've done is that all the emails that were received were sent, so your email was sent. What I've been told is it was a resume of your, so that's why when we emailed together on Friday, I didn't understand why, because I didn't see as much comment. But when I opened the email today, I saw that it was a 3-page comment, so I sent it back to the consultant saying
What happened?
what happened, and then we updated the table based on the full comments that were received.
I'll be brief, just to
Sorry, just your name and address for that.
Hank Vetter, current address is in Réunion, Ontario. So thank you, Mayor Leroux and members of council for the opportunity to present at this public meeting here tonight. So Hank Vetter, representing the Russell Reformed Presbyterian Church as a member of the building committee. We currently have approximately 35 member families. in the
Mr.
Russell-
Vetter, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but it's a question period.
Mhm.
Is there a question in there?
There is no question. I can just briefly.
Because have you sent comments in?
Yes.
Because were they addressed in the,
But unless there's something new, but I think so. They were.
Right, we didn't get no response from what we sent last week,
okay.
but I think that they have been addressed from the last public meeting.
Yeah, so maybe we can just address those to Mr. Vetter to make sure that that's what you're looking for.
Sure.
C'est dans le tableau?
Simply here to acknowledge and thank you.
No problem, Mr. Vetter. I just want to make sure that we get the proper answer we're looking for in the document. That's the first one. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I think we had a discussion about this, and yes, Mr. Vetter's comments were addressed. Basically, the property, it just requires a modification in the schedule.
Okay,
So this will be done as part of the
final draft.
draft on May 8th.
Okay, so we'll be able, there we go, Mr. Vetter.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's my vote. I was just curious, that last comment, I can't get enough information from that. So what's the modification? Like, is it for land for them to build a church?
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, so we're referring to the property, the last comment of Mr. Vetter.
Wait,
Yes, sorry.
Okay, so basically the property that we're talking about is in Russell, and it's directly north of the Old Town West subdivision, and it faces Forest Road.
okay,
Initially in our existing official plan, it's shown that this property, to be able to build on it, you need to bring the services, so water and sewer.
it is within the village
It
boundaries?
is within the village boundary. Technically, it's not serviceable. Through the infrastructure department, it was shown that it's not possible to service that property. Therefore, as part of the official plan schedule, we have some of the property that are identified as unserviceable. So that means if just the Russell.
So essentially, there's the new.
Yeah, so now the same property is left within the village boundary, and it's shown as non-serviceable, so therefore they will be able to build on it without service.
Okay.
So, so we'll get that map shortly. So, yeah. Alex will go point to it.
Thank you, Madame Ricard.
So as you can see, the property is located completely north, and it's that strip of land.
Didn't wear your platform shoes today.
Who's the chair?
So that property is now identified as non-serviceable, and as you can see all along Craig Street at the bottom of it, south of where the commercial property are also identified. So there's some in Russell and some in Emblem that were identified as if you were to build on it, you could have private services or you could have partial services, because most of the property, I would say 90% of the property that are inside the boundary, they have to have both services unless it's not feasible
Financially. And
or technically.
technically.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the property that were identified, and I believe that the intention is to be able to build a church at that location.
Okay, thank you very much, Madame Tremblay. Other questions?
Just one last comment on procedure. I thought this was a public open house under the Planning Act hosted by council.
That is correct.
So it doesn't have to be a question, it can just be any comment can be directed to council.
Madame Tremblay, comments? Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, my apologies.
Thank you.
Anybody have a comment?
Well, if we're still in the questions there.
Yeah, come on up. That's why we're here.
My name is Danny Lafont. I live at 587 Notre-Dame Street. Second house past the roundabout, going towards Russell on the right. And I've been trying for the past 16 years now to cut down or separate my 2.95 acres in two to build another house or something else on the side. Never been able, because I guess it's outside the boundaries and it's part of, I'm zoned, it's zoning rural residential.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the modification of the plan, is there any possibilities eventually to have that modified so I can separate it?
I believe that's through the provincial policy statement that states that rule for severances. And as explained, as far as extending the village boundaries, I don't think that's the case right now. Is there anything for Monsieur?
At this this level, no, because our official plan is only inside our
Inside the boundary?
Yeah, so right now we're adopting our official plan for the village boundaries, our village of Embrun, Russell, but it doesn't affect anything else outside the boundaries. So your property is affected by the county of Prescott and Russell official plan. So therefore, at the time of their amendment, their new plan, that's where the request needs to be put in. So your property is probably agricultural and it needs to be redesignated to rural. So you could be able to
Yeah.
split that property.
Seems like they are reviewing their plan every 5 years also.
Yeah, so basically they just completed that official plan and as mentioned earlier, they're gonna review their plan in 2020 or 2021.
So I just missed it again?
You just missed
Damn
it
it.
again.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
My apologies, Mr. Vetter, if you want to make a comment.
I'll keep it very brief, just to point out that, so this property then that we're hoping to be able to build on Forest Road, that in our submission last week is to reconfigure that, to stay within the current acreage that is within the village limits. That will not change, we won't subtract or add, but we're looking to reconfigure that so that it's not such a long, deep, narrow lot, that it would come up along Forest Road. So as opposed to being 1,200 feet deep and about 160 feet wide, it will widen out across Forest Road. And then also hopefully not cause a landlock within that current property as well. So that's what we're asking, that the village boundary be adjusted to match our proposed concept plan that we sent through to you last week as well. And that the township can confirm in writing that our concept plan would be considered a minor adjustment which is allowed under the current policies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just to confirm, this will be part of the June 7 meeting.
Okay.
So we'll probably have to show this what's being proposed.
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly.
Bonsoir,
Bonsoir.
Guillaume Wang, 1806 Saint-Albert. J'ai été invité, peut-être c'est hors de contrôle ou hors de contexte, j'ai été invité pour une demande de Council of Assessment Review Board. Est-ce que je fais la bonne place?
Excuse,
Ça s'appelle Application to the Council or Assessment Review Board. J'ai une invitation pour la réunion ce soir, il me semble que ce n'est pas le sujet.
non, au moins c'est un sujet de sport pour la prochaine réunion qui va commencer très très bientôt.
Ok, je m'excuse.
Non, non, c'est beau. Oh, c'est-tu du côté de Russell ou du côté de Nation?
Dans le Saint-Albert.
Je pense que c'est la réunion.
Quel côté de la rue?
Parce que c'est un bord c'est Russell, l'autre bord c'est la Nation.
C'est Russell.
Ah, ok.
Ok, ben, t'es à Russell, so t'es correct. Non, je pense pas, je vois pas. On a une copie de l'agenda en arrière. Ah, c'est un des rapports de M. Godin. Ok, c'est bon, ça va être la prochaine réunion. Très bientôt. Other questions, comments? Okay, we move on with the resolution. The council received report PD 34-2017 dated May 15, 2017, and the council directs staff to conduct some research into the areas and points raised in the comment table received May 1st, 2017 by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee regarding the Schedule B of the proposed draft official plan. Need a mover and a seconder to put on the table. Moved by Conseiller Lorraine, seconded by Conseiller Simard. Last questions, comments? No? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Item 7, confirming bylaw. That bylaw 2017-046, being a bylaw, confirm the proceedings of Council of Corporation Township of Russell at its special council meeting held on May 15, 2017, Part 2, be read a first, second, and third time and pass. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Conseiller Lorraine, seconded by Conseiller Simard. All those in favor? Approved. Next meeting will be in about 5 minutes. We are adjourned at 6:40 p.m. and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Give everybody a bio break.